Alright guys, as advertised, this video is going to illustrate my formula that shows how I consistently beat the stock market by about 2.5 times. Some disclaimers before I get into things. As I always mention, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not telling you guys what to do, I'm just telling you what I do, and I'm showing you that information. And I'm just going to show you what I do and what I think is necessary to make my formula work for me. Two things are needed to make my formula work. Let me go ahead and get the first one out of the way, which is a tough psychological fortitude, balls of steel, I'll just say. If you're the type of guy who gets really scared and panics when you see your money go down temporarily, my plan might not work for you. Remember, I beat the market when the market rises, my money really rises, but the other side of that is when the market falls, it really falls, which is okay because over time the market always rises back. But because of this, not just my method, but investing in general is not for everybody. What helped me to develop thick skin is to remind myself that there has never been a crash that we had that we didn't recover from eventually. So that's where I hang my hat. That's what encourages me to buy more on crashes, as we all should do. The second thing you need to make this plan work is a net surplus every month. You have to save money every month. You need to spend less than you make every single month so that you can save and continue to put more money into the market, especially when the market goes down. The more you can save, the better. If you need help on either of these things, whether you need to toughen your mentality up and need advice on how you're going to handle this psychologically or need some encouragement, I'm available. Or you just need to come up with a plan on how you're going to save cash, I'm available for a consult. I saved my first $100,000 that I made, making no more than $40,000 per year at my job. So I definitely did that by being a do whatever it takes kind of guy. And if you want my advice, feel free to send me an email with the date, time, and phone number you want me to call or do a video chat with you on. I'll send you the payment details and we can get started on our consult. That's what I do. Let me get started on what the actual formula is. So there are two ETFs that are part of this system that I do. Let me slow down and explain what an ETF is for the people who don't know. It's basically an investment you can buy on any stock trading platform that tracks and represents groups of stocks, so it's easier to diversify. Anyways, as I said, there are two ETFs I use for my formula, and that's QQQ and TQQQ. QQQ follows the NASDAQ 100, and TQQQ is a triple leveraged ETF that follows the NASDAQ 100. Why do I pick the NASDAQ 100 instead of the S&P 500? It's because since its inception, it goes up more than the S&P 500. It's as simple as that. It does dip a little bit harder on the crashes, but when you're investing for the long term, as we all should be, or at least as I do, temporary crashes should be of no concern. As I said, the two ETFs I follow are QQQ and TQQQ. I keep 1/3 of my money in cash in a high-interest Capital One savings account that earns me 4.25% APY right now as I'm making this video. I keep the other 2/3 in the stock market on both of these two ETFs at a 50-50 split, meaning if I have $150,000, I keep 100,000 in stocks, I keep 50,000 in QQQ, I keep the other 50,000 in TQQQ, and then I keep the other 50,000 in my high interest cash savings account. And remember, that's predicated on the fact that you're able to save money every month. You should be able to save roughly 20% per year of that 2/3 of cash you keep in the market. Meaning, if you have 100,000 in stocks, you should be saving about 20,000 per year. That's going to allow you to invest more aggressively and confidently on the downturns. So why do I keep them at a 50-50 split? It's because you cannot buy and hold the leveraged TQQQ long term. It rises really hard and it crashes just slightly harder. That's illustrated in the crash we had in 2021 recently. Non-leveraged QQQ has recovered while the leveraged TQQQ has not. My portfolio, using my method, has beaten both of these ETFs by a landslide, and I do that by buying and selling them at the right time. As I sit here making this video on the night of May 21st of 2024, it'll get released a few days later, of course, but the non-leveraged QQQ peaked before it started crashing on November 19th of 2021 at $403.99. It's since recovered and today sits at $456.19, which is a 12.92% increase from peak before the crash until our peak tonight. TQQQ, the triple leverage stock, has peaked at $88.57 per share before it started crashing in 2021, and today has only reached $64.71 as of tonight, which again, May 21st of 24. My portfolio peaked in 2021 at $540,000, and tonight sits at $860,000, which is a 58.61% recovery, which obviously beats the NASDAQ by a landslide. So as I said, they had a 12.91% recovery. I've almost beaten them 5 times over in this instance. And as I said, I also keep 1/3 in cash, and I also have real estate investments that I'll get into later. But I keep TQQQ and QQQ at a 50-50 split because it keeps me on track of how much to buy of the leveraged TQQQ. As I showed, you cannot just buy and hold TQQQQ. Eventually it will go much lower than the non-leveraged QQQQ that tracks the NASDAQ 100. So as the market goes down, TQQQ will naturally go down at a faster rate than the non-leveraged QQQQ. So when TQQQ hits 48.5% of your portfolio as it's going down, I know I can buy a little bit more and bring it back to the 50-50 split. One of the reasons I like my method is not only that it works really well, but it also totally takes the emotional decision out of the buy and sell experience, which can be a lot of traders' worst enemy. Emotion is. You should also factor in the new money you save every month to your 1/3 cash, 2/3 stock ratio. So let me go ahead and provide a specific example to help make things a little bit clearer. If you have 100,000 in stock and 50,000 in cash, and you're saving about 1,500 every month after you pay your bills, which puts you saving just under 20,000 per year, which is, remember, I do recommend saving close to 20% of what you have in stock to be able to invest more aggressively on the downturns. So if you have that 100,000 in stock, you'll be just under 20K savings in this example, so that's fine. Okay, so you have your 100,000 in stock in this example and 50,000 in cash in this example. And you're saving 1,500 a month. So say 1 month your stock goes down to 97,000. You saved 1,500 to add to your 50,000. So now you have 51.5 in cash, 97K in stock. So we need to invest in the stock market to keep it at that 1/3 cash to 2/3 stock ratio. You would invest $2,000 of your cash in this example, which would bring your stock up to 99,000 and your cash down to 49.5. That maintains the 1/3 to 2/3 ratio. Do the math, it checks out. Now first, when you invest that 2,000 back into your portfolio, it only took 1,000, let's say it only took 1,000 to bring TQQQ back to the 50-50 split. So now of that 2,000 you were going to invest, you still have 1,000 left to invest. So you would just split that remaining 1,000 evenly between QQQ and TQQQ to keep it at a 50-50 split. That's pretty much the gist of my formula, guys. There are some nuances that I should mention. Sometimes the rules I've set don't fit together perfectly. For example, if the market falls really fast and you have to spend a little bit more of the 1/3 that you have in cash to keep TQQQ at 50% of your portfolio, you should buy more TQQ in sacrifice of having 1/3 of your money in cash. The most important part of my formula to me is to always keep TQQ at 50% of my portfolio on the downturns, so that way we can recover harder. And on the flip side, when the market rises really fast, TQQQ will go up a little bit above 50% as you sell just enough to keep your cash ratio at 1/3. And I'd prefer to let TQQQ just go a little bit above 50%. So let's say if we're rising and TQQQ is at 52%, but I still have 1/3 of my cash in 1/3 of my money in cash, I'll just let it continue to grow at 52%, and if it falls, if it falls so that my cash becomes greater than 33%, the 1/3 ratio, and say my TQQ is at 51% still, well, now I'll just invest more in QQQ to bring them at a 50-50 split, and if it continues to go down and the leverage TQQQ falls to 48.5, now I'll buy more TQQQ as it falls. As I alluded to earlier, eventually buying real estate investment becomes a necessary part of my formula. Why? Because as I said, one of the key components to my formula is that you save about 20% per year of what you have in the stock market. That allows you to continually buy aggressively as the market goes on downturns with confidence. So if I have 100,000 in stock and 50,000 in cash, I want to try to save at least 20,000 per year in new money that I have coming in. So if you're at 100,000 in stocks, your 20,000 that you're saving a year is great. After you pay all of your expenses, you're still able to save 20,000 per year. That's great. But eventually, your portfolio is going to grow to 200,000 in stocks and 100,000 in cash. So the 20,000 that you're saving every year is much less consequential and does a lot less reinforcement on the downturns, if there is a downturn, for you to hit the investments harder. So what do we have to do? We have to readjust. So in this example, you've got 200,000 now and 100,000 in cash, 200,000 in stock. So that's a total of 300,000. So you're going to take half of that. That's what I do. I would take half of that, 150,000, half of that 300,000 total, and I'll invest it in real estate at a 25% down payment. So I'll have 600,000 worth of real estate total, 150,000 in equity, and I'm usually able to do about a 20% cash on cash return. That's very doable if you do your research and if you buy at the right time. That's very important. I don't think right now is the right time to buy. I don't recommend people buy real estate right now. I think it'll be much better in a couple of years. That's just my opinion. And so, as I said, I usually get about 20% cash on cash of the, in this example, I put 150,000 as a down payment. So if I do 20% cash on cash, that's going to be 30,000 extra that I'm saving. So in addition to the 20,000 I was already saving, now I'll have another 30,000 to add to that. So that will bring me to 50,000 per year savings in this example. And now my portfolio in stock has gone down because I've spent some on real estate. So now I'm back to 100,000 in stock and 50,000 in cash. And that's going to allow me to continue to invest aggressively and with confidence if there is a downturn. Alright guys, I hope that illustrates my method as clearly as possible. If you have any questions for me, I'm willing to do consults to explain what I do. If you send me an email of the date and time you want to book me for a 30-minute phone call or video chat, feel free. And I offer advice on anything, guys. I did get my degree in psychology. I'll talk to you about a relationship that might be getting in your way. I'll talk to you about how we can restructure your life to save you more money. I'll help you boost your confidence if you need that in terms of taking the plunge to getting into the investing game. And please do subscribe to my channel. I'm going to start posting a lot more life advice and financial insight that's helped served me over the years as well.